This is Loyola.
He told me. Will you tell him when?
Sure.
What happened?
10 to intro.
From the Convergence Studio in the School of Communication, this is Loyola News Chicago.
Hello and welcome to Loyola News Chicago. I'm Kristen Jones.
And I'm Lauren Lopez. Here's the news. Loyola may embrace BYOB, bring your own bag. As we told you last week, in the recent USGA election, students voted overwhelmingly to ban plastic bags at Loyola's on-campus stores. But Emily Olson reports it's not a done deal.
Loyola's plastic bag ban may go into effect next semester, ending the use of plastic bags in on-campus stores. Instead, students will be encouraged to bring reusable bags or buy compostable or paper bags for 5 cents. Stores like Southside Market and the El Stop Spirit Shop would stop buying plastic bags if Vice President of Student Development Jane Neufeld and then Loyola President Father Michael Garanzini approved the ban. Loyola senior Gabriella Baldessari began working on the ban as a project for an environmental studies class. She is hopeful Neufeld and Father Garanzini will approve the ban thanks to the 87% student approval for the USGA referendum.
Well, it's not a positive thing because, it is still up to him. But I think that the really positive student support we have is definitely in our favor.
The oceans and animals that live in them benefit from initiatives that limit the use of plastics. Director of Loyola's Institute of Environmental Sustainability, Nancy Tuckman, says plastics can be damaging to the larger ecosystem.
Plastic stays around for a very, very, very long time and typically ends up in little tiny microplastic bits in the ocean that get into the food web and they wreak havoc on organisms that live in the oceans.
Tuckman believes solutions like a plastic bag ban could raise awareness and promote simple lifestyle changes.
You're raising awareness and you're making people think about it, and you're setting up a deterrent so that they will say, I don't really want to pay 10 cents for a paper bag.
If students choose reusable options, Baldessari thinks will be a small step to larger change.
The main goal is to stop using plastic bags, and then the next goal is to just kind of get away from that, like the single-use, throwaway society that we're so accustomed to.
Green initiatives like 2012's water bottle ban have helped pave the way for the plastic bag ban. Water refill stations have replaced over 1.5 million 29-ounce water bottles on Lakeshore campus as of December 2013. Baldessari thinks these initiatives helped her ban and hopes Loyola can now cut out the 2,000 plastic bags that are used weekly at Southside Market alone. Emily Olson, Loyola News Chicago.
Baldessari is currently working with USGA to draft a proposal to Neufeld and then Father Garanzini. Though there is no official timeline, Baldessari hopes to have an answer before the end of the school year.
Father Garanzini is finally speaking out about the USGA proposal to divest from Israeli companies. As we reported previously, Loyola student government almost unanimously passed a resolution that would boycott companies that benefit from the Israeli and Palestinian conflict. However, former USGA President Pedro Guerrero vetoed the bill shortly before the end of his term. After a few weeks, Loyola President Father Garanzini tells the National Catholic Reporter why he refused to adopt the bill, regardless of the vote. He said, quote, "The USGA has no funds to invest. The university does, of course, and he would have completely ignored this resolution. For one thing, it is impossible for us to implement. Most of our endowment funds are in funds of funds, and finding out where they are is nearly impossible. However, we would not be interested in taking up this issue. It is one-sided, it is focused on one party in a complex international situation. It is felt as extremely unfair by our Jewish faculty, staff, by our Jesuit faculty, staff, and students. Loyola is not the only school taking action in this controversy. Students at University of California, Irvine, University of California, Berkeley, and the University of Michigan have also considered divestment in the past few years. One of Loyola's environmental initiatives is keeping literally tons of food waste out of landfills. About 40% of food in the U.S. goes uneaten. But Samantha Sartori shows us how Loyola is taking action to address food waste both on campus and off.
Every Friday afternoon, Kelly Hoff runs the new compost bucket program at Loyola, where students, faculty, and staff drop off compost they've collected in their dorms, offices, and apartments. Hoff is a junior environmental studies major who took the job as Loyola's recycling assistant to make her mark in sustainability on campus. Her job may be a little dirty, but in the end, she knows it's worth it.
It's something that everyone can do. Composting is a really good way to divert waste from landfill, and you're really taking initiative to be sustainable at Loyola and on campus.
When participants drop off their food waste, Hoff records the data for the Institute of Environmental Sustainability. The Institute is not only making a difference on campus, but also in the greater Chicago community. After getting a $90,000 grant from the Searle Funds at the Chicago Community Trust, Loyola established the Compost Collection Network. The program's goal is to assist local businesses in setting up an efficient food scrap collection process. Local restaurants, including Heartland Cafe, have already begun participating in the program. On a weekly basis, they fill dumpsters with food scraps rather than throwing them away. Loyola's sustainability director, Aaron Dernbaugh, says diverting waste from landfills accomplishes several goals.
You're throwing away energy. You're throwing away something good that, is extra. And anytime we can reduce that, we can get more efficient, we can be more thoughtful.
The program started last year in Simpson Dining Hall, prompted by concerns over the social and environmental impacts of food waste. The program expanded this year to include both the new DeNobili Dining Hall and the new Ingrained Cafe, located in the Institute of Environmental Sustainability. Samantha Sartori, Loyola News, Chicago.
Besides Rogers Park businesses, the Field Museum also participates in the collection program. The compost is taken to a local facility, where it is turned into fertilizer. Loyola's network has diverted 163 tons of food scraps since the program started in 2012.
Rogers Park may soon be a safer place for cyclists. The intersection of Glenwood and Devon could mark the beginning of 20 miles of protected bike lanes in the area, according to a proposal from Mayor Emanuel last weekend. The lanes would help divert cyclists from Sheridan Road, a potentially dangerous route. Lanes would be put in place down Glenwood Avenue, stop signs would be removed, and the path would continue north on Greenview Avenue to provide safe, uninterrupted travel from Edgewater to Evanston. The Chief of Staff for the 49th Ward called the proposal a work in progress, saying unprotected bike lanes would become a likelier outcome. Electric bike riders could be treated like everyone else on the road if a new ordinance passes in Chicago. Part of the proposal includes age and speed limits. E-bike riders would have to be at least 16 and pedal at a max of 20 miles per hour.
There have been a number of incidents on the CTA recently. A woman fell on the tracks on the Green Line earlier this week and was rescued without serious injury. The Red Line subway was also rerouted above ground due to trash on the tracks, delaying commuters. Of course, the most dramatic was last month's Blue Line crash at O'Hare Station that injured 33 people. The CTA could pay over $9 million to fix the damage at the station, but most Loyola students are not planning to change their commutes.
Honestly, that's like my main mode, or like my main way of transportation, so of course I'd have to take it. As far as being safe, like all those things could happen at any time. Like no matter where you are, there could be danger happening anywhere.
I feel like a lot of things that happen are like isolated incidents. Like I took the Blue Line to the airport the other day and I didn't think like, oh, it's gonna happen again just because that was such an isolated incident. But I do think about it when I'm on the train, like what could happen or not, but I don't really feel like unsafe, not to the point where I wouldn't take the train.
Loyola students will need to prepare for even more Red Line delays. The northbound Addison stop will be closed for several days later this month for track maintenance. April Fool's jokes are typically fun and lighthearted, but not when they get you behind bars. Police say Alicia Voital sent 5 Chicago police squad cars and the fire department to the Jefferson Park Blue Line. Dispatch officials traced her phone after Voital claimed there was a, quote, emergency collapse at the station. Voitel's prank put her in jail for just a day until a Cook County judge ordered her release for court. She was charged with felony reckless conduct.
Coming up on Loyola News, it's spring and wedding bells are in the air. Find out what Loyola thinks about hosting same-sex marriages.
And Loyola is raising awareness all over campus. More on that when we come back.
Miss? 多少钱一碗？一碗 just 一碗。我和你 I'll pay you money. I've got this money here. Please take the money, please. Let me see.
把他带走。
Bridget Sheeran is here today with Loyola's News Extra. Hey Bridget, what's going on this week at Loyola?
Lots of awareness, Kristen. Loyola has a lot of groups on campus that are looking to raise awareness about a particular subject. The best way to do that? Hold an awareness week. There's Sexual Assault Awareness Week, Water Week, Hunger Week, and Disability Awareness Week. This week, Loyola took things to a whole new level as it played host to 4 different awareness weeks.
You may have noticed the giant wall in the middle of the Lakeshore campus. Students for Justice in Palestine and the Middle Eastern Student Association erected this wall to commemorate Palestine Awareness Week. Its purpose? To educate students about Palestinian resistance and to celebrate the culture of the Palestinian people. Some of the events include a speaker series and Palestine Solidarity Day on Friday. It's also Hindu Awareness Week, hosted by the Hindu Students Association to celebrate Hinduism and its presence on Loyola's campus.
So we'd like to spread awareness of Hinduism, just to get our beliefs out there and to get people exposed to the different practices of Hinduism.
Some of the events include a showing of the movie Arjun, a game night, and an interfaith prayer panel. But Sheil Shukla says the highlight of the week is the model Hindu wedding.
So one of our main events is our model wedding, which is tomorrow, Thursday, at 7 o'clock in McCormick Lounge.
And Invisible Conflicts is commemorating Genocide Awareness Week. In this week's Loyola Phoenix, reporter Jordan Berger discusses the event and says it's important for students to understand the effects of genocide so we don't repeat the mistakes of previous generations.
It's important, especially on a college campus, to educate young people because as I was interviewing the people who planned it, they kept bringing up the quotation about how if you don't talk about history, you're doomed to repeat it. So I think that's really important to keep in mind.
This year's Awareness Week focuses on the Rwandan genocide that happened 20 years ago. Invisible Conflicts hosted a showing of Hotel Rwanda and will host a showing of a documentary about the genocide as the final event of Genocide Awareness Week.
The 4th group promoting awareness this week is Lift and Poverty Awareness Week. Their final event, a hygiene kit drive, is happening on Friday in Dumback Hall. A hygiene kit, which is often given to people dealing with poverty, usually contains a toothbrush, bar of bath soap, fingernail clippers, and a hand towel. The hygiene kits collected by Lyft will be donated to Care for Real, a food pantry in Edgewater. And after all the awareness this week, Loyola does not actually have any awareness weeks scheduled for next week.
Very interesting. Well, definitely a lot went on this week. Thank you, Bridget.
Beginning June 1st, same-sex couples will be able to marry in Illinois. Cook County has actually been issuing same-sex marriage licenses since February. But Hannah Jarvis reports none of those weddings will be on Loyola's campus.
Situated on the edge of Loyola's Lakeshore campus sits Madonna della Strada, a 76-year-old Roman Catholic church where many students, alumni, and faculty go to practice their faith. Some, however, will not be able to marry at the chapel.
Loyola policy used to allow weddings for couples with ties to Loyola on multiple campus locations. But after the new state law, policy was changed so that marriage ceremonies can only be held at Madonna della Strada, restricting marriages to heterosexual couples.
The policy came shortly after Governor Pat Quinn signed the Marriage Equality Act in November, making Illinois the 16th state to legalize same-sex marriage. Located in the heart of the Theater District, Equality Illinois is the state's oldest and largest advocacy organization for gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender rights in Illinois. Mitchell Lowson of Equality Illinois says that the most profound part of the new law is that for the first time there will be no difference between married couples in the eyes of the state.
On one level,
On a very pragmatic level, it means that couples and their families have access to the same rights and responsibilities that all other married couples have in Illinois and the nation.
Lowson says rights include Social Security, tax benefits and exemptions, and access to health insurance. He also says that religious institutions are not obligated to perform marriage ceremonies for same-sex couples. In September, a same-sex couple began a student petition against the school because they were denied the right to marry at Madonna della Strada. Some Loyola students feel that the policy is a step backwards for the Jesuit university.
The Jesuits are more forward-thinking, and so I just always thought that Loyola would be kind of inclusive in that aspect.
Campus ministry declined an interview, but wrote to us that the marriage equality law will not affect weddings on any of Loyola's campuses. Hannah Jarvis, Loyola News, Chicago.
A campus spokesperson says the chapel hosts an average of about 3 weddings a year. More were held at other campus locations, particularly in Cuneo Mansion. Wedding receptions are still allowed on campus and are not restricted by religion or sexual orientation. The economy continues its slow recovery, but only a few Chicago professors are reaping the benefits. The American Association of University Professors reports average raises of 2.2% nationwide. This is the first time in 5 years that pay increases have exceeded the inflation rate. Chicago State University reported raises of nearly 10%. CSU is one of 4 local institutions to exceed the average, but Loyola reported a 3% drop, the second largest decline among local institutions. Loyola's provost says the decline reflects pushing the raise date back from January to July.
David Letterman will retire from The Late Show next year, and another TV icon will take his place. CBS Television Network chose Stephen Colbert to host the broadcast. The current face of the Colbert Report says, quote, "Simply being a guest on David Letterman's show has been a highlight of my career, and I never dreamed that I would follow in his footsteps." CBS News national correspondent Dan Raviv says it has yet to be determined if The Late Show will continue being taped in New York once Colbert takes over.
Coming up on Loyola News, graduation is 1 month away. Find out what this year's seniors are looking forward to.
And up ahead, she shoots, she scores, but we're not talking basketball.
So you can't save money? That's easy as pie. Brown bag your lunch instead of going out. $6 save times 5 days a week times 10 years is $21,000. That's a lot of lettuce. Small changes today, big bucks tomorrow. Feedthepig.org.
G-Morning, sunshine. Wakey, wakey. Text me. Are your parents home later? We can hang. LUV, love you. JK. Holla back. Holla back. Holla back. Are you with your friends? That's lame. We're in a huge fight right now. XO. Would you dream of something I did? Are you on your way to the mall? I'm lonely. Nude pics. Send me some. Text me.
Nick Amantangelo is here with sports. The Ramblers keep rolling along, eh, Nick?
Yes, they do, Lauren. Loyola's #1 ranked men's volleyball team has won 20 straight, and we're looking to make it 21 when they took on the Quincy Hawks at the Gentile Arena last Saturday. It was senior day at the Joe, and senior Joe Smalzer and the Ramblers were looking to end the year with a national championship. However, it was senior Dinas Burzins who provided a lift for Loyola. He finished with a team-high 7 kills, and the crowd absolutely loved it. Despite being winless in the MIVA, the Hawks managed to keep things close in all 3 sets. The Ramblers were not to be denied. Fellow senior Torrey Darren gets a big block here, one of his 4 on the night, and the Ramblers win in straight sets. They move to 23-1 on the year. They'll wrap up the regular season Friday when they travel to Columbus to take on the Ohio State Buckeyes. While the Buckeyes haven't been as dominant this year, the Ramblers haven't won at Ohio State since 2006. After that, it's home sweet home for Loyola, who will not have to leave Gentile Arena throughout the conference playoffs and potentially the Final Four. Loyola's softball team has had some difficulty dealing with Chicago's weather. They have yet to play a home game at Hoyne Field. However, that hasn't stopped senior Lauren Moore from smashing Loyola's career RBI record this season. She currently has 111 for her career, outpacing the previous record of 93 held by 2 players. In addition, Moore has 5 home runs this year, and if she gets 8 more this season, she'll hold the record for most career home runs with 33. The Ramblers are currently 5-6 in the MVC and will need more to continue to hit it big if they're going to make a splash in the conference this year. The softball regular season runs through the first week of May before the MVC conference tournament. And Loyola students are channeling their inner Katniss Everdeen from the Hunger Games by practicing an ancient art, archery. Our own Grace Runkle went with these sharpshooters to see how they're having fun aiming for that bullseye.
While some girls wear bows in their hair, freshman Raquel Navarro prefers to keep hers in her hand. This past Saturday, Navarro showed off her archery skills at the American Indian Center of Chicago for the first ever Loyola Archery Day.
I wanted an opportunity to show Loyola students what archery was like since we don't have a club yet. I was really hoping to identify what students were into archery or see who wanted to try it for the first time. I know a lot of people have done it once or twice, but never got the chance to try it out as a sport.
First intrigued by archery when he was little, freshman Andrew Pavlik jumped on the chance to take after his archery heroes, Robin Hood and Hawkeye.
I was a Boy Scout and I was always kind of interested in archery, and then I just heard about it and I'm like, all right, yeah, I want to go shoot some arrows.
Despite getting a minor flesh wound, Pavlik said he'd do archery again in a heartbeat.
I do have a red mark right here. Just, I don't think my arm protector fits all that well.
Everyone agreed their favorite part of the afternoon was when they switched up their target practice and aimed at some balloons instead.
And I didn't think that I'd be able to hit one, to be honest, but I kind of didn't hit mine. I hit someone else's, but it's okay.
Navarro plans to have one more archery day before the end of the semester because for her, sharing her sport is the best part.
I love the social part of archery. I love talking to people and coaching and being taught and learning new things and just having fun with a lot of people at the same time.
To find out more about the next Archery Day, check out the Loyola Day at AIC Facebook page. And I don't know about you, but that looked like a lot of fun.
It really does. I'm hoping to try that sometime soon. Thanks so much, Nick.
Thank you.
If you thought getting into an elite college was hard in the past, it's nothing compared to now. With applications at a record high, top colleges are rejecting the majority of applicants. The New York Times reports that Stanford University rejected 95% of them this year. Both Harvard and Princeton's acceptance rates dipped below 10%. Some blame colleges' aggressive advertising that essentially boosts the number of applicants. But there is good news for high school seniors who have their hearts set on the Chicago area. Northwestern University accepted 23% of its applicants. Loyola had a 58% acceptance rate, UIC's was 63%, and DePaul's 64%. The school year is coming to an end and seniors are getting ready to leave Loyola. Megan Carabelli caught up with the future graduates who weren't in class to find out what their plans are for graduation.
There's the song.
With graduation upon us, some of us know what we're doing and some of us don't. We talked to seniors at the downtown campus to see what they were planning to do with their future.
I'm excited to potentially do my master's and go to law school. I took my LSAT, so I kind of have everything up in the air right now.
Waiting to hear back from a few places. I have an interview with Leo Burnett tomorrow. Might move to DC to work at Accenture, so just weighing all of the options.
I'm looking forward to taking a year off. I'm leaving the United States for about a year to go teach English in the Czech Republic, actually, in Prague. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Well, it looks like everyone's doing something different, but at the end of the day, one thing's for sure, you'll always be a Rambler. Megan Carabelli, Loyola News Chicago.
It's closing in on a month until graduation. The undergraduate ceremonies run from Wednesday, May 7th to Saturday, May 10th.
And finally, have you ever found yourself at odds with your roommate? Anyone who watches The Big Bang Theory knows just how often that can happen.
Do you recognize this?
Not the roommate agreement.
Indeed, the roommate agreement. I call your attention to the friendship rider in Appendix C, Future Commitments, number 37.
Well, it may be time to ditch that old roommate agreement. A company in Chicago known as RoomPact has come out with a digital tool to help predict and prevent roommate conflicts. College roommate agreements usually focus on things like sleep habits, but RoomPact surveys also weigh emotional issues and expectations. These custom surveys make it easier to find compatible roommates, and micro-surveys are used to monitor the relationship. Loyola's Director of Residence Life said the school may look into using it in the future.
I don't know about you guys, but I definitely could have used that the first year at Loyola.
Me too. Freshman year, I had a horrid roommate.
Speak for yourself. I love my freshman roommate. I'm still friends with my freshman roommate, if that's any indication.
That's nice.
Well, that's our news for today. I'm Kristen Jones.
And I'm Lauren Lopez. For all of us at Loyola News, thanks for watching. Spring has finally sprung, and we end today with some footage of students enjoying the lovely weather at the Lakeshore campus.
Thank you.